Pitter patter, let's get the fuck out of here. It's Joe the Bull Guy, and welcome to the bullpen. We've got Nicole and we got Jimbo. How we doing, guys? How we doing? We doing good?
So much better. So much better.
Good. I'm glad that you're back and you're feeling better than ever, Jimbo. That's fantastic.
Thanks,
Nicole, as always, looking great. So here's the fun fact, and I really kind of wish we were all here. I'm sorry, because technical difficulties. You got to plug electronic devices in, right? That's how that works. Kind of like a vibrator. You got to make sure you got that plugged in, or else it's going to be a real shitty night for you.
What about that girl that was literally doing that on TD? Did you hear about that?
I did hear about that. Yeah, I heard that she was.
She's in my algorithm.
It's crazy. I know that.
How does it smell?
How's the snow?
No.
Oh yeah.
No, that's what she asked. Yeah, her boyfriend Carlos, or I don't know.
Anywho, I was really hoping that we had a full cast tonight because this will be the inaugural episode of us. As you can see down below there, that we are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and the rest of them, and they are under the AGT network. So we are now able to be streamed from any fucking platform, which is fantastic. Also, and Jimbo is going to really love this when I get to talk to him later about it because we haven't had a chance to catch up. But there is a really big interview that is going to be. Oh, we're going to do our toast. Yep. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. That's a coming here. But
I got a special drink for tonight.
There you go. You got Red Bull.
Oh, nice.
Well,
gives you wings.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it gives you wings and not diabetes. But the really big the really big interview we're going to be doing this in the next month or two. We're not revealing the person's name yet until they everything's in writing because fucking Carl. We just it's Carl. But what we are going to do is Jim, I'll fill you in on that because it's just fucking it's amazing. It's really a hell of a
opportunity.
Yeah, definitely for sure. So with that being said,
already.
Oh, listen. Well, here's the salute to the podcast now being on streaming platforms. Thank you.
Solange. Jindon.
Rose Chin Chin. You name it. But anyway, so tonight we had a little bit that we were going to get into. A lot of people know what took place over the past couple of weeks and some of the things that were going on. Hi, Sarah. How you doing? Love your face. Thanks for stopping in. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this because, today's January 6th. So, well, now it's the 7th, but it was the 6th when we were starting to record. So, that holds a place now in history, right? Because of what happened at the Capitol. And then we have all this other shit that happened last week on New Year's. And then the next day we had right in front of Trump Tower in Vegas with the Cybertruck. So a lot of this, what's up, Steven? So a lot of this, news it's going to be a little bit rough to go through, guys. And just as a heads up, it's not going to be pleasant. This stuff is kind of a sensitive nature, but it boils down to one of two things. Was this really a terror or was this mental health? And a lot of times it's both, right? Mental health plays a lot into everything. So keep that in mind. Like when we're listening to this, when we're talking about it, it's okay not to be okay. And please seek help when you need it. Okay. Please reach out to somebody. The email's always open here. You can reach out to any one of us through the DMs. Please make sure that you reach out to somebody. Yeah, Jimbo.
Or was this Fugazi?
That's the other thing we're going to talk about.
The third factor that we need to definitely.
Oh, there's a lot. Trust me. There's a lot of conspiracy shit we're going to go down.
Sorry.
What did you do to your hand?
Sharpie marker.
Oh, God. I thought he had stitches. I'm not. I was going to say, what did you pull a Carl and start yanking it too hard?
That's left hand.
That's only your left hand. Oh, okay. You didn't want the stranger this time?
makes me feel like somebody else.
No, what about the Amazon woman?
Do we have a new Amazon woman?
Probably her. No.
Another talk.
We're not going to talk about this.
It's
Fair enough.
2025. I've turned over a new leaf in 2025.
You want more of a land?
So you only going with shaved girls now? Is that what we're saying?
No more of a land
man.
strip.
No, I've opened my. I mean, if you want to talk about it, do you want to talk about it now?
I mean, sure, if you
I
want
think
to.
it's the
That's up
whole
to you.
podcast. We talk about it
We
at
can say
all.
this for Friday if you want. Like,
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, Friday.
Wait, are we gonna possibly talking to someone?
I can give out a lot of information on Friday. 2025. It's new me. New
Let's
me,
go! No, you don't say new me. You say better me.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know if
let's
it's
be
better.
realistic.
Yeah,
There ain't no
Go,
new me
you
new.
don't want to change yourself. You just want to.
I'll know about April or May if it's better.
Well, good for
But
you.
it's
You look
new.
happier. You look like you're glowing.
He is.
I'm very happy.
Ringing bells.
He looks a little how did we say this as a guy? Drained a little bit.
No, that's from work, brother. I'm working 80
No,
hours
I
a
didn't mean
week.
I didn't mean that drain, sir.
I'm working 80 hours.
That was
a
spoken
week.
like a true politician. Facts.
It's nothing about work. Trust me, because work
Yes.
is more now than ever.
Definitely
Barbecue season. I'm
No,
ramping up barbecue in a foot of snow in South Jersey. Like we're barbecuing.
Listen,
It's
I can't wait until
nonstop.
barbecue.
But we'll talk about it.
Oh.
We'll talk about that another
Hoping
time.
to go to the beach.
We're definitely going to be talking about that because I do want to do a like one of those Sunday lives again where we're sitting there doing some cooking and stuff.
That was so much fun.
Okay, so we're going to definitely do that, and I won't change me, right? So like this new year, new me shit. Fuck that noise. I am me. If you don't fucking like it, you could find a new set of scenery and go fuck right off. And it's funny. This year I'm cutting out the bullshit out of my life, right? I don't have time for it anymore. So if people want to be in my life or they want to be doing what I'm doing, then they can be here and do what I'm doing. And if they don't want to be here, then you're more than welcome to see your way out and we can be amicable. But if I have to cut you out, you're going to be dead to me. That's the way I roll. It's old mafia mindset, right? Like I'll stab you and smile while I'm doing it. Go ahead, Jimbo.
I'm trying to cover up my Sharpie. So to be fair, to quote David Coulier, cut it out.
Ow. Exactly. Get rid of it. You don't need it. It's toxic shit. Now, unfortunately, we're going to talk about something a little more abrasive for the moment, and then we're going to go back to our normal, fuck around and find out kind of attitude. But a lot of people know what took place, and I didn't know if a lot of people knew what happened on this. And the fact that I didn't know it was a Green Beret in Vegas that said he was depressed.
Yes.
And that was in front of the Trump. First of all, our hearts and our condolences go out to all the families that suffered through this. I don't want anybody, first and foremost, to ever think that we are going to be talking about a sensitive topic and that we are not compassionate, because we are. And, I could only imagine what these families are going through. And this is really kind of a fucked up time in our lifetime, right? Like we used to have to worry about foreign powers coming after us, not the shit on our own home soil. And a lot of it speaks to, is there mental health? There's a conspiracy behind it? Did they find people with mental health that have issues and say, hey, we're going to do this for you and your family? I mean, it can even go back to what happened in Butler in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of things that you could sit there and go, well, there's a lot of dots there starting to look like she might have the hurt, but nope, we're connecting them. So, this Cybertruck thing was crazy, right?
Yeah.
Ex-girlfriend said he was depressed. He left a note. He even sent a message to one of like a huge political podcaster, right? And this was right out in front of the Trump International Hotel. So tell me that that's not a little bit of a fucking coincidence. He's taking power. This is going on. So the Green Beret, he was active Green Beret. His name was Matthew Allen Levensburg. Authorities said that he fatally took his life after the truck exploded. He texted Alicia Arrett in late December. That was 2 years of silence before she told CNN about him being depressed and the things that were going on with him. When you trolled his social media page and you looked at everything, happy-go-lucky guy, fair God and country, and then to watch this. And he did, he did put in, where was it, Colorado. He left his base in Germany at the time of the explosion. Where was it? He was on leave, excuse me. There was something about that message. I had it pulled up here. Fucking Carl with the notes, man. You're killing me. Like, I don't need to know when you walk your dog. He literally put it. He took notes this weekend when we talked about this, and he put in walk dog. Are you fucking for real, Carl? He was diagnosed with depression last year, but wasn't at risk of violence. I'm trying to find who he sent the letter to, and that's my problem. But he sent a letter saying that people were following him and that he was part of a cover-up and that they knew about it. And they were trying to silence him. And again, and there's Carl in the chat. Thank you, Carl. Our soldiers that were in Iraq and Afghanistan were doing up to 5 tours. Okay, Carl. I got you, Carl. Thank you. Or did you randomly put this in to go off at a time? Whatever. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for adding it in. So, like,
you gotta love Carl. Yeah. Carl, we love you, but
you just like, you make it very easy for me to pick on you, and I'm sorry, but I'm glad that we're friends, because if not, I'd have you. Jesus. Anyway, right. So obviously that was the day after the truck driving through New Orleans, and 14 people died. And the IEDs that were placed there. And it was funny that one of the coolers that he placed an IED in was moved from a dense populated area to a less dense populated area. And that, to me, either one shows remorse, right? But this was done right prior to him flying down Bourbon, which is, and I know I'm talking about this very cavalier, and what it is disgusting. Let's be realistic. I'm not downplaying the situation, but it's puzzling because if you look at both of these people, neither one of them had any red flags that said it. So, yeah, I don't know, Jimbo, you have any take on this? You have anything you want to add to this? Anything that you did in research? Nicole, anything you guys want to jump in with this? Like, I mean,
they were saying, in one of the articles, they were saying he did act alone, though. Like, but then in the one article, it did say that, there's possibly that he had there was somebody else involved, and that's why the second cooler got moved. But you know that they found the detonator in the car. Didn't something get messed up? I might have missed that, right? Like, wasn't
I think they did say that, and there was a guy who had his meta glasses on that recorded the whole
right. Oh, that was another thing. They said that he did not activate his meta glasses the day of the explosion, but that he had visited that area twice prior.
Right. Yeah. And he also streamed about talking about this.
My daughter has an Oculus, which is through Meta as well. And I mean, those glasses, they just came out, but the technology of those Meta glasses are beyond crazy. I mean, my daughter has the Oculus, which is a little bit different. It's the VR headset, but like, it's just the technology that Meta's bringing out, which is also owned by Facebook, is just beyond me. And yeah, so he had used those glasses twice prior, but the night that the explosion happened, he did not turn them on, they said.
And he's been streaming on social media about this, that he was going to do stuff, that he was going to do something.
Yeah, and he was born in Texas.
Yeah. Both
he's an American soil man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the war. Served in the military. He also graduated from one of the I forgot what college it was. I'm sorry. Georgia Tech.
Yeah, it was Georgia. And then the interesting part, like, these are American bred, and this is a difficult topic to talk about. So
Yeah,
we're going
I'm
to touch
sorry.
on it a
I
little
said
bit
it.
longer, and then we're gonna move into more
Right.
happier things.
It is serious stuff.
But the conspiracy part of my brain is that in the letter it stated that these drones were from China, that they're gravitational propulsion, that they're
Yeah, they said
coming
they'd
off the
never
coast.
seen this before in the state, and
The U.S. and China are the only
yeah,
two with
never seen this
that
kind of
propulsion technology. But that's the thing. We have it, and China has it. So tell me this isn't a conspiracy. Tell me that this didn't. Someone's not trying to pull the strings and doing some dumb shit. That's how I look at it. And I mean, some random person moved a cooler away from the Airbnb and put it down the street. Like, there's too many factors to that.
Do you think this is conspiracy with the American government, or more because didn't they say he was part of ISIS?
That's what they said that he pledged.
Or you think they planted the IC flag?
That's the thing. When you're doing a conspiracy, watch this hand while everything's going here, right? The other thing is it has a lot to do with a coup. If you think about it.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
So overthrowing like a government, like there are stages to doing that, right? They're called linchpins. And what these linchpins are, and funny enough, anytime you've ever seen a hostile takeover of any country, whether we're a part of it or anybody else, there's always this linchpin. And if you pull that linchpin, it's a row of dominoes that go down. And I mean, Jimbo, back when, you and I used to do what we did, there's those scenarios, right? Where like one thing fucks up and it's like, it goes foobar real quick.
This is domino effect.
So, and that's what I think was going on here, right? Was this domino effect was getting set up to where these linchpins would be pulled and try to point in a direction.
My opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion. And I hope that we don't, what's the word? Give it too much value. The New Orleans incident, I don't know. I really don't know. I think that there's a lot of moving parts with that. And I don't want to second guess or figure out things with that, because every day they're changing the ideas with it, and they're changing actors, and they're changing information. But the Las Vegas incident, I'm 100% calling MK Ultra.
Thank you. And I was waiting. I was waiting for you to say.
Ultra? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jim.
So MK Ultra is a CIA mind fuck that they've been doing for probably 50 years, maybe 60 to 70 years.
And then it's this proven
the
stuff
first
that they're
CIA.
doing.
The first
it's
CIA
proven.
document came out in the 60s, right? About MK Ultra.
Just because of the actor involved, the equipment involved, the evidence that they're giving us, like what they're giving the public is not what they know. You know what I'm saying? Like but just from what we're getting, I don't believe a fucking thing with Vegas.
I think was just
that's MK Ultra, 100%. New Orleans, I don't know. It could be just a random dude that like he lost his shit and tried to do something and
we had a lot of mental health issues, and then he went through the course and financial issues.
I mean, anybody that follows the news can figure this shit out and do certain things. Like,
anybody with common sense,
scientist, to do what he did,
right?
Just to say now it's coming out. Well, he was, he's American, and he was a veteran, and he had these. He was training this and training that and training this and training that. That I know a lot of guys that are training a lot of shit and they're dumb shits. Like that doesn't mean anything to me either. You know what I mean? Like, New Orleans is still up in the air with me, but Vegas, 100% to me, is
It's
MK.
MK.
100%.
So
That
to
was
give you, go ahead.
it was 100% planned out, figured out, executed,
And executed. It was a plan. It was a perfect plan of what not.
Right.
and
It
they
wasn't
did
obviously
it in that vehicle because they knew it wasn't going to cause the devastation
right.
that it
Yes.
would have caused in any other vehicle. Like everything about that
It doesn't
is just
seem right.
It
So
just fits. Like
What
it just
about
fits.
like the Texas with the girlfriend though? I mean, he seemed really like.
that's
No?
but
You think
that's
that was just
2 years
bullshit that-
prior. It's 2 years prior.
Yeah.
Listen, so okay, to give you a little like history of MK Ultra, right? So MK Ultra was to try to create a super soldier by giving them LSD and putting them under extreme sleep deprivation and all these different scenarios with lights so that they can control them. It was like Universal Soldier. They made a bunch of movies about this stuff to make kind of a light of the situation, but really it was a horrible situation. So these soldiers would sign up for these programs and they would go, oh, okay. Basically, what would end up happening is that they would give them all these illicit substances, put them into sleep deprivations and whatnot, and then tell them to do something and see if they can execute it. They made a movie about it just recently with oh god, the kid that played in that Facebook movie. Oh Jesus, what the hell was it? It wasn't Zombieland. He was in Zombieland too, but
Justin Timberlake.
no. He's the same actor. God damn it. I hate this ADHD.
Sandberg?
It was him and Kristen Stewart. It was American something.
Hi.
I mean, guys, look at Jason Bourne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne
That's
movie. So you're
not-
saying he's kind of like MK?
Jesse Eisenberg. Thank you. That's who I was thinking of.
Eisenberg. Yeah.
Eisenberg. But
The
what was
premise is government controlled. Like you're I can't say too much.
You don't
more.
have control
Well,
of
I don't want to say
yourself.
too much more about it. Like I
No.
Yeah. I don't know anything.
problem
about
is-
conspiracy theories.
I'll tell you this very simply put. It's basically American Ultra was the name of the movie. Watch American Ultra and that'll kind of explain it. And basically it was a way of that they go about the normal lives and all of us Manchurian Candidate, another movie about it. A code
Zoolander.
sets them off. Zoolander. It was funny enough. Zoolander made a joke about it, right? Like he had to go destroy the person that because they were using models as assassins, right? So it was a program that basically made soldiers or people into assets that could be used at any time and activated at any time and shut off at any time and were the perfect patsy because they didn't exist or
Right.
I don't put anything that we deal with in the I guess the public media, like the mass media. I really don't even watch it like it's normal stuff because it's all bullshit, to be honest with you. Like you go back to a couple years ago with the Vegas shooting, and they're like, they're like, there was one shooter. No, man, no. All the reports that are coming out, they're like, no. All the casualties, the mass casualties are like, this is not everybody. There was people with cell phones recording that whole incident. There was not one shooter. Like it's just we're smarter now, folks. Government, we're smarter now. It's not our fault. It's all on tape, folks. It's all recorded. You know what I mean?
which brings up a good point.
I mean, you can't fool us like you used to. You got to think of other shit.
Think about the grassy knoll. That's what I was just going to bring up. Kennedy. I mean, that
So
was
you
not
already-
one.
and that's already out. They've Trump when they've asked him. They said the first thing you said you were going to do, you're going to find out about this. You want to find out about that. He goes, "What are you going to? You said you're going to give us the results of the Kennedy assassination. So what do you want to tell us? You know what Trump said? You don't want to know.
Right.
I said I would, and you don't want to know.
Yeah.
You talk about and there's people that are outside of our government that goes, that was CIA, and they involved the mob, and that was done. Like that was it. Like it was a total setup. So you can't look at these incidents. You can't look at any big incidents like this anymore with the same
Randy.
rose glass. Like you can't have rose-colored glasses anymore. You got to look at it as if
They're
it is
lying
what
to you
it is.
already.
Do you
It is
think
what it is.
so? They
Like-
trained this man to be like this. Is that what we're saying? And that he was willing to just give up his life to
No.
get
No,
his,
that's the problem.
No.
no. So
It's
you
all-
think
They
he would quit
rewrite
then?
it.
It's all psychological rewiring.
rewrite it.
Psychological warfare. It's like you are. I
You're
can't.
hardwired one way.
We don't have the time
Yeah, I got
on
you.
our podcast to go
Yeah.
into it and explain how this works.
I'll give you.
Maybe
I'll give
we
you
can have a
an
podcast about
abridged.
that because I would like to know.
I don't think that's a good idea.
That's
Okay,
not a
then-
good idea.
Okay,
That's not a good idea at all, and we're not going to put that on here at all.
Okay.
But I'll give you a
Mr.
brief
Smith.
synopsis. No, Jimbo is 100% right. There are certain topics I won't bring on here because I don't.
Oh right,
need the
I'm
attention
sorry. I just
Or
don't
end
know.
up on a list. No. You're
I don't
good.
watch the news. I stay
Let's
away
put it
from
this
all.
way. Real simply put, MK Ultra was a program that was designed by the CIA in collusion with a lot of the military forces to create a super soldier that could be activated without knowing what was going on. They had no clue of it, and when they would come back, it was completely gone and wiped away. They had complete plausible deniability. Also created a patsy. What it did was they broke the human psyche down and rewired it the way they wanted it. And by
And
building
this is
this,
fact. This is now
this is
known.
facts.
100% fact known.
MK Ultra is a known thing. There are documents about it. If you research it, you'll see it. But basically, what they did was during that kind of form of torture and abuse, and that's what we're going to call it, they were able to rewrite the neural pathways to be able to control somebody that would normally have been uncontrollable like that. Right? Like if you would have given them two choices of run over a bunch of puppies, right? Or go about your business and walk down the street and ignore the puppies, they would have probably walked down the street and ignored the puppies, not gotten in the car. But because of whatever trigger that was put there, right down through the puppies.
Okay.
So that's to give you an example. So it's a very hotbedded topic because there's a lot of things that are at play. There's a lot of agencies with letters in them that we don't want to piss off, that we don't need to piss off.
No.
So for everybody out there, we are just talking about today's events and kind of
it's
thing.
sad.
And we're going to leave
And I just didn't know.
Ultra
I don't know that much.
back there.
One of my biggest things, and I feel comfortable enough to say it because it was said in public, that a very good friend of mine who's very involved in federal government issues. I was like, what are they going to do when the truth comes about like quantum physics, quantum computers, quantum physics, the black hole, like things that are interdimensional and that change the shit that people think about. And he goes, people won't understand it or want to accept it, but it's real. I go, well, we know it's real. He goes, but people think it's real because of like Star Wars and shit. Like it's not a real thing. And that's all he would talk about it. But I go, but it's quantum physics, dude. Like it's a real thing. People go to college for it. And he goes, it's just, it is what it is. Like people are not ready for it. Like they're not ready for it. It's
And that's a big issue.
the world, dude. Like
It's going to shatter everything.
where things are interdimensional and they can change the way somebody does something and how the course of actions are. We're so simplified in what we do and what we see to where an incident in Vegas and an incident in New Orleans affects us proves that we're not ready for the
Which
shit
really,
that-
Right.
what we need to be ready for.
yeah, I feel
Well,
you.
and it's
Okay.
like so you remember the movie The Matrix, right?
Yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
take the
Take
red
the
pill to the
red
blue
pill,
pill.
yeah.
My bounds and go over my head because I'm an idiot. So
No, you're not an
No,
idiot.
no, you
That's
just
not-
made me think of it different. Maybe I need to start really know what's going
But
on.
that's
I
the thing,
ignore it.
though. You'd be surprised. Like the Mandela, people talk about the Mandela effect, and like, did
That's
Ford
real.
have the little cross in the F on Ford, or was it look like the J? Was there the little? And these are little things, right? Like the Mercedes logo. If I think back to the Mercedes logo, it was a like three like prong, right? But in the middle, it had lines that separated the three prongs and made them into points. Now it's not there anymore, and they said it was never there. Go look at another big one is Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse in the tugboat, steamboat captain or whatever. He had suspenders. He was dancing with fucking. Why they took it out? Who the fuck knows? But he was there. It was there. I have the VHS. Shazam. That was another one which everybody loves.
that's the biggest one that everybody argues over. They're like, dude, I have a copy of that.
With Sinbad in it.
And Sinbad,
Wait,
has
what
been
is the
on record
Kazoom? I've never seen that
going-
movie.
I never made that.
Right.
What
But
happened?
he
to
did.
that movie?
It's
But it's
Shazam.
there.
He said they said that okay,
Now,
so I
Sinbad
remember watching
suffering
it.
by a bad internal, like he's invalid now.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't
Weird,
that
right?
interesting?
Weird, right?
Isn't that interesting that he can't talk about it and why? It was a fucking movie. But the movie Sinbad, it had or the movie Sinbad, the movie Shazam had Sinbad in it.
Mhm.
Okay. Or yes, it was Shazam. It was Shazam, right?
Yeah.
Shazam.
He's like, no, I never made
And-
that movie.
They ended up having now, if you look it up, it shows oh my god, why can't I think of the best?
You're saying Sinbad wasn't in it?
No, who's the basketball player that's in it now?
Was
Shaq.
it Jordan? It was
Shaq. It's Shaq. So now if you search it, it shows Shaq, but it was Sinbad, and Sinbad was the one who did it. And they said, no, he didn't do this. And it was about a genie and gives the boy wishes and all this shit. And they changed it. And I have a VHS copy of it with Sinbad in it. And Sinbad comes out and says, that wasn't me. Well, why wasn't it him? For the
What was
Looms
it gonna
logo,
be? I don't
exactly,
know.
with the cornucopia. We talk about the dumbest shit in the world.
The biggest one that everybody knows is Berenstein Bears.
Okay, I know them. What about them?
It's spelled different.
It's completely spelled differently now
Yep. Completely
than the
spelled
original
different.
spelling.
Berenstein or Berenstein with two E's. I'm
Right.
like, no, that it's like Berenstein Bear or Berenstein's Bear. Like it was like, no, dude, that's how it's been. The,
Yeah.
and
Wait,
the other
you're
one was the Fruit of the
saying that
Loom.
they've done these simple things.
We're
to
not
see
we're
if-
not saying it. This
No.
has happened,
right. This is
and they're
happening.
changing it.
That's
So
part of the
Mandela effect.
Mandela effect with
Go ahead, Nicole. What were you saying?
No, I mean, like, I
Okay.
just, it's just, I guess this is mind blowing to me because I guess I've never really looked at. So what? So these things, like, we're seeing these things, and then do you think they're like whoever's doing that? I'm not saying it's they or you guys, but is it like they're changing it to make sure, like, if we didn't notice it or not? So like they can do that to us all the time. Do you guys get what I'm saying or no?
Yeah, you're asking if they manipulated shit so they could see that if they could get away with it with simple things like a logo on the Diet Coke.
Yeah,
can.
like, yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Jim,
so
you
that's-
take.
yeah.
I'll let you go for it. I mean, I say yes, but that's
Yeah, I know. You got to be careful when you talk about this kind of stuff. I get it. But yeah, that's crazy. That just blows
you were
my
going to
mind.
finish your thought.
It's very
Jim, and
sad
then if
about
you
the whole
want-
New Orleans thing, and I feel like we went down another tunnel, but it is very. It's
That's
sad.
okay though, because that's where this goes.
Yeah.
So we started talking about one thing, and it led us into another.
Right.
Jimbo, you had a thought that you were finishing up, and we were.
Yeah, I'm
letting
sorry.
Nicole-
I couldn't.
No, I'm looking something up real quick because there's something that I'm looking for, and I can't.
specifically.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you look that up. But yeah, the Mandela effect, in my opinion, okay, the whole reason all of this shit's going down, and there's a lot of things that I am not going to say on a public
Yeah.
broadcast because I don't want to end up in a box. So, or a hole in the middle of some country like Ghana or whatever. So the point is that they started manipulating the way things that we perceive things, and to see if people noticed them. And some people did, and some people didn't. And the conspiracy theory about it is that the people that noticed are the outliers. These are the ones that are going to cause issues. They're the ones that are going to notice that people are doing things that shouldn't be doing it and bring attention to it. The ones that passively go through life and ignore it are the ones that are easily manipulated and controlled. The whole premise of it is if you can control the person and the way they think, you can control the outcome of anything you want. So it keeps hunt for power, hunt for the whole thing, right? Like it's a country divided is a country controllable. A country united is a country that's unstoppable, right? These are things that were said years and years ago. There are things that are in our own history that we know as fact, that I have been to those places that they for years over and over again. And now the story has changed in those locations to something different. And it's almost as if it's like the Stepford Wives, right? Like they just stop and reset, re-download, and now they're back to it again. So, and there's a lot with it. I mean, it's.
Well, don't you think like history all has to do with like somebody just writing it down and like they could change it and they could just make something up?
Yeah, but
Like,
here's the thing,
like
though: when
the
you have
Bible-
55
the
million
Bible.
people witnessing the same thing, right?
Right.
It's
True.
a little bit harder to change history. Back in the day, before technology, you would think that it was easier to change it, but it wasn't, because everybody had their stories that they passed through word of mouth, and what was written down on paper wasn't always the case, right?
Right.
So, like the Bible, people follow the Bible, right?
Right.
Bible's written by man. We know this. We know this to be fact. The problem is, how many times has it been reprinted? Now it's on a digital copy on the computer. Has it been changed? Is it getting changed? Is it going to be changed in the future? I mean, these are things that like the fucked up shit that goes through my head 99% of the time, we just
Like-
keep it there.
Like how the calendar only went to you know what, right? And then we had to make more years.
Right. Well, you know,
Is that
it's
would you
just,
say that's a part of this whole thing or not really?
I think that's separate from the Mandela effect, though.
Okay.
Right. That I think is more of to incite panic and fear
So,
and whatnot.
so this is
Did
what I
you
was
find out
looking,
what you're looking for?
this is what I was looking for, and tell me if I'm off topic. But Geneva, Switzerland, CERN. It's the
Super collider?
it's the Hadron Collider.
Yep.
It's the largest, highest energy particle accelerator. It's built by European organization CERN between 1998 and 2008 in collaboration with over 10,000 scientists and hundreds of universities and laboratories across more than 100 countries. They're splitting atoms and they're creating. So every time they think that they nail this, that our what we believe, what we live in changes. So it's
Called the
CERN,
God particle.
right? So
That's what they. Go ahead.
it's huge. It's in Geneva, Switzerland. Across it borders with France. They're saying that this is what is causing the Mandela effect. Like every time that this thing's going around, it takes up thousands of acres, and every time it connects, it's doing something that it changes the outcome of us, of our universe, and of what we believe and everything. And that's where the Mandela effect comes from, is that collider in CERN that CERN developed.
Okay, so I'm going to go get this to prove.
If I'm saying it right.
No, you're saying it right. And I'm going to go get this to actually prove a point. So I'm going to step away for a second, but I want you to think about this while I go grab what I'm going to grab. Okay. The way we perceive time and everything is linear. Okay. That's how it starts point A to point B. But what if, and I'm going to go get this because I wish I would have had this and knew that this was where it was going. Give me 2 seconds.
crazy topic, guys. How are you guys all doing? Thank you guys so much for being here. Yeah, for us, that is my belief with the Bible. Just saying. Yeah, I didn't
on,
know if
bear
we
with
could
me.
bring that up, but yeah,
I'm
I would
fucking
agree.
crazy, okay? But this is the shit I think of, okay?
Okay,
So
I'm ready.
yeah, I'm gonna ruin this.
Mind
That's what the
blown.
fuck I'm gonna do. Here you go. You ready? Okay. Everybody always thinks that time's linear, right? And
Okay.
that the only way that there are these focal points that go through time and it changes and it sparks off, right? So you're traveling down this path and then all of a sudden an alternate reality splits off. But here's the thing, it's not like this. It's not like this at all, but that's what they want us to believe. So every time that Hadron Collider goes off, they're saying it sparks at a different part. And this now becomes the new reality. And therefore, when something else happens, it sparks off again. But that's not the way time and space works. It is, imagine a bowl of fucking this spaghetti. Okay, this whole fucking spaghetti that I just opened and fucking wasted. So I'll cook that later. But you cook it and it's a bunch of wet noodles and you dump it into a bowl. That's what happens when you fuck with time and space. So the fabric of reality, according to this, it splits the atom, and instead of it going linear like it's supposed to, it splits off and creates a different alternate reality. So it's like the multiverse, right?
Wow.
If you're a comic book person, you'll understand the multiverse. But time is not linear. Time doesn't start here and ends here because time is something we created as a way to explain why the sun goes up and the moon goes down. So we created this. This was ours. But what happens when you keep fucking with it? It bends, right? Now we're bending it and now it splits off. So instead of it having one alternate, it has three with the original timeline fractured. So that original timeline drops, and now you have these alternates that you can possibly go through. This is some of the stupid shit that I think of when I'm sitting by myself, right? And I never talk about it because people always go fucking crazy.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, yeah, I just never.
Well, they think you're nuts when you talk about it, right? Like if I'm telling you that everything you thought about time and space is wrong, what would you do, Nicole? You think I'm on something, right?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just different. It's just different to think of it like that.
But that's the crazy part is that if we don't expand our mind, and this is the other funny part of this, right? They say that we only use 6% of our brain.
Right.
That's it. What the fuck are we doing with the rest of it?
Well, that's what I'm trying to bring
I
up.
love the spaghetti demo. It was good, Sarah. Very good.
Well, no, it brought up a point. That's why when
I needed a visual because I was struggling.
But it's not just you; it's other people. I mean, like that's the thing. If you think of it as point, then that's what they teach us in math, right? Geometry, everything is from point A to point B.
Right.
It's not. Nothing is linear.
A, B plus, yeah. B,
have you seen the movie Lucy?
Yes.
Oh, with the one girl that she's the machine, right?
With Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
So
and they put that thing in her.
So it was drugs that enhanced her body to use every bit of her genetics, and then she becomes innate. She becomes
a weapon
forever, and she becomes just mass. Open mass. But it's funny that they used the name Lucy after the first human being they ever found frozen
in the ice.
In ice. Yeah.
Right.
But
isn't it? We talked about Dolly the last time too when you were out. We talked about Dolly.
Lucy. Lucy was the second woman made.
No, not biblical.
I've never read the Bible.
No. This isn't biblical.
Okay.
They found trapped in the ice was the first person they ever found from that time period from before, right? From like
dinosaurs,
the oldest
right after
human ever found,
ever discovered.
Okay.
And her name was Lucy.
And it was in Africa somewhere that they feel, and they called her Lucy, like they called her Lucy.
Yeah. Do we know, is Mayhem a new watcher?
Yeah, that's Randy.
Oh, hi, Randy. I didn't know.
Lucy. Human fossil. There it is. So Johnson and his team found about 40% of Lucy's skeleton after determining the fossil was over 3.2 million years old at the time that Lucy made Lucy both the oldest and most complex early human ancestor or relative ever found. Approximate age of Lucy. So here you go. You got Lucy was discovered by Donald Johansen and Tom Gray in Ethiopia. Lucy's fossil is approximately 3.18 million years old. Lucy's skeleton is 40% complete and consists of 47 bones. So when they originally were talking about the Neanderthals, they didn't have everything we had. Lucy just proved that she had almost everything that we had, but they only found 47 or 40% of her body. Lucy is a member of the species. Oh, for fuck's sake. Australoca. Look, I'm posting this in the chat. I'm not even trying to. If you're listening on one of our streaming website, I feel that if I say this word, I am going to end up getting myself in trouble because I cannot pronounce that shit to save my life. It is now in the chat, so you all could check that out. Lucy's skeleton shows evidence of bidilism with her arm bones, short pelvis, and angled in thigh bones. Lucy was named after the Beatles song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Lucy's significance was that it's a major break in paleontology. It helps establish that Africa was the cradle of humankind, meaning not where they thought.
And at the time, that's what they thought. So the funny thing is that as we all probably have done, I did the DNA tests, you know, and they give you all the where you're from and they give you a Neanderthal number. And my percentage of Neanderthal was significant. And I was
No way.
Yeah, so it was like 0.018 or whatever it is. But they're like, yeah, you're more than like 80% of Neanderthal. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, my short 5'9" hairy strong ass would probably be.
Which could explain why you and I could drink a lot. You know what I mean?
Alcohol doesn't bother me.
Right.
Strange animals don't bother me.
A hairy vagina.
Don't bother me.
I thought we weren't hairy anymore. I thought we were going to the landing strip.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that Friday.
Oh yeah, let's go.
That's Friday. So, but it's crazy.
Say no.
I'm ready for juicy
Well,
stories.
Just
remember, you got to try it twice.
Neanderthal in me.
You got to try it twice, or else you're not doing it right.
But
it's crazy.
Is that, yeah, go ahead, brother.
They were found. She was found in 1974.
You're frozen.
You froze up.
I think you froze
Sure
up.
froze up.
Yeah. Guys, it's okay. We're just having some technical difficulties.
So while Joe's froze, I'm just going to say real quick that it's funny because recently, in the last just couple years, that it's always been known that civilization and humans started in the African continent. You know, that's been it. Really,
Right.
That's it.
But that's not the case.
But they have found recently that the northern end, like Norway, Sweden,
where the Vikings started.
yeah, that there's a
I'm watching the
whole other element of human. Like they're like so then they go, well, that was that the difference between, you know, Homo erectus and Neanderthal and this and that and everything else. So that's what they're trying to, because they're finding now it's because of our weather change. So things are melting and they're finding more artifacts and they're like, holy shit, we're finding bones and they're a lot older than what we're finding in Africa. But it's because it's been frozen for thousands of years in the Nordic.
Right.
Millions of years.
Millions of years.
And that's the craziest part about it.
And they're saying, so this could be that missing link. You always had that missing link, you know, and they're like, this could be that missing link, that there was these people we had 2 or 3 different Homo sapiens in our planet when this all developed. And I think that's fucking awesome.
No, that's
That's
really
where you get, the eyes. Like you look at
Well,
listen,
Lucy,
not
Good.
not being racist at all. This is just being physical. Look in Canada, from natural Canadians to say what's the word? It's not Eskimo now. It's
French.
indigenous
Inuit,
Inuit.
natural Canadians to Asians to the eyes. Well, they had to have that for when it was freezing cold and the sun was beating off the snow, and that's
what
what
you're talking about is adaptation.
like
for
things
your
are now
surroundings.
coming together that they didn't know how. And I think that's
You're
amazing.
talking about adaptation to your surroundings and environment, that's what you're talking
So
about.
you're
where,
saying
like,
that we
somebody might be
evolved by adapting to the environment that we were in at
Correct.
the current time?
Well, that's been proven. But
Oh.
Yeah.
but the missing link was forever how this all became. And now they're finding this whole new like source from the Nordic, from like Norway and that area to go in, well, this is how that eye configuration came to be because they were surrounded by ice and snow and bright sun. And now all of a sudden it's like, makes sense.
Right.
Well,
For thousands of years, it didn't make sense. Now, now it makes sense. I think it's
so
all.
here.
That's fascinating.
Hold on, but here's the thing, though. Lucy wasn't the first. She was the first one we found, but there's one that predates her, which is 4.4 million years old, and that's Ardi, ARDI, and he is the oldest living. Well, not living, obviously, but oldest fossil. That's it, right?
For male
humanoid skeleton. It's the first. Yeah, that's the one that was the farthest back. I believe they found. And I had it pulled up, which is what caused me to freeze. And I'm sorry about the, little frigid there. But where was it? It was Artie. I want to find Artie. Where did that article go?
This is a really fascinating topic.
I love it. Like, this is like my hobby. Like, I love this. This is so awesome.
Let's see here. And it looks like a lot of the news articles that were there are gone.
I think Joe broke it.
I didn't break it.
Joe broke the internet.
I wish. That would be nice. At least I didn't have to put a champagne bottle on my ass like Kim Kardashian did. I'm kidding. I was trying to find where I had it pulled up and then I froze and then I closed everything out and came back.
Sorry, I hiccuped.
Okay, yeah, you can have whatever cookies you want. It's a work laptop. Ancient. Yeah, he was found in Ethiopia. So if you think about it, Artie is in Ethiopia and you have Lucy. But one of the cool things about it is no one talks about the East Africa Rift System and how all of this was back when. Now, they don't teach us no more. They don't teach us in school. So listen up, fellas. Okay, and ladies, all the continents were originally together. It was one large landmass.
Correct.
And because of earthquakes and eruptions underneath the water, all of it broke apart, which gives us these continental rifts and the divides, and they moved, which is how we get shit that's supposed to be in Russia that's all the way over in like South America, right? Because everything was interconnected in one landmass originally. And then they think a meteor might have hit the earth, the core might have had some instability. Whatever the reason was, it all started to break apart and form what we have now. In a million years from now, we might not have this, right?
But it's still moving.
It's always moving.
Look
at California. I hope they fall into the water. I hope they don't.
That's what causes the volcanic eruptions and the storms on the west. It's still moving. Like our continental drift is still fucking moving. It's minute, but it's still moving. It's amazing.
it's fascinating because if you go and talk like to a fifth grader, seventh grader, eighth grader, okay, so what were the continents before they were the continents? I don't know. What? Thank you, Pangea. Thank you. I was trying to think of the name, and I was like Pythagoras. That's wrong. Copernicus. Nope, that's not it. Like I was trying to think of it. It was Pangea. Thank you. It was originally called Pangea. They don't teach that anymore. They teach it. This is the map, and this is the way it's always looked. No, it the fuck it didn't. And if you actually take all the continents out and cut them out, and you line them up, they all fit the fuck together.
It's like a puzzle.
Literally, it fits better than a guy's dingling into a girl's hoo-ha, and it connects like a lock and key. Tell me I'm fucking wrong.
It's a puzzle.
They're telling me, and they just washed it the fuck out of history. They don't even teach that anymore. And it's like, so when I was a kid, and you taught us all about it, and we learned about Lucy, we learned about her, and then the next year, 3 years later, my sister was in the same motherfucking class with the same teacher. And they didn't teach about Lucy. Why? They don't want people to know about Lucy. Why do they not want you? Because it breaks everything that they put into place. This house of cards. Here's religion. Here's how to explain the solar system. Fun fact: Galileo found out that Jupiter had 4 moons. How many moons did you all think Jupiter had? Back in the 1600s, he found this out with a fucking telescope.
Part of the solar system anymore? Yeah.
No, that's Pluto is no longer a planet, but you're close.
Yeah,
I'll take it. We're on the right track. But think about it though. How many moons were you ever taught that Pluto had? 1. No one ever thought.
I think that that the Roman Catholic Church owns.
I would love to get into the Vatican.
Best
collection of shit.
The best starlight to the moon. They own the best. What do you call it?
View. Telescope.
Telescope.
Oh yeah. Do you know the Vatican?
The Vatican's telescope is the best in the world.
That's another.
They don't want us to put everything together. Like they don't want us to put I believe that there's part of this that's right, and there's part of this that's right, and there's part of this that's right, but they don't want us to put it all together.
Well, think of it this way. The Vatican has the largest museum and collection of documents that go all the way back to, and some people say it's crazy, but I'll fucking say it because everybody thinks I'm nuts anyway. But Alexandria, the great temple that sunk into the fucking ocean that had all of the documents from Archimedes and all of these finds. Do you really think that in history, and think about it all throughout history, all throughout all the civil unrest in the entire world, what's the one fucking place no one touches? The Vatican. No one touches the Vatican. And I'm not going for the Vatican. I'm Catholic. Let's just put that out there. Yeah. I'm not saying go for the Vatican, but if you watch the Da Vinci Code, and if you notice, and I'm not a huge fan of Tom Hanks. We're not going to get into that. I think him and Wilson should have stayed on that fucking island and not come back. But that's just me personally. But there are floors that go down below. And it was a big thing. And in the Da Vinci Code, they touched on the God particle and the Hadron Collider. And they did talk about it. But if you notice, that movie disappeared. They stopped playing it on TV. It's very hard to get a copy of any of those now. The books have all gone off the shelf now. Why? Did they hit the truth? Did they point to the truth?
Brown,
and if you notice.
So Brown wrote all them. And
right.
The best part that I felt like really kind of hit home that I was surprised they even fucking put in the movie was in the first one. Is when they go into Scotland and they're like, yeah, it's the chalice isn't a chalice. It's actually a person.
Right.
And the people that come into the church and surround her and they say, we're your protectors. They didn't put it out there, but you know who that is? The Masons.
My dad was a Mason.
But you have everyday Masons, but
oh, you mean the high up Masons?
High Masons.
Yeah, I gotcha. They're different, yeah. They
There's
did
a lot
say
of
that
secrecy.
my dad would never show me his book.
The high right of the Masons
Yeah.
are the Scottish Masons.
You know what? Let's not go
There's a lot
more
more.
into
There's a lot more
Look.
into that than they put into that they could have, being the movie that it was, but
Jim,
they
stop,
kind of
stop.
ended it there.
Jim.
They didn't do
Jim,
it.
stop. Don't go further into that because you know what? That brings up a great point. Why don't we change Friday a little bit? I know we had a plan. Why don't we do secret societies and the Masons, and we
Let's
talk about
do
that?
it.
Bro, I don't want to be Clinton, bro.
You could just sit there and you could just look pretty on the camera, and Nicole and I will go and do it.
I'm
No,
joking. I'm
No,
joking.
that's
Trust me.
But I think that that's
Trust
a good
me.
idea.
They
Why
don't
not
worry
the
about
big
us
Freemason?
at all.
I was
Anything
like-
No, they don't
that
care
we're
what
gonna
we
find
say.
out.
My dad
Anything that
actually
we're
had a
gonna
Mason
research-
ceremony at his funeral.
anything that we're going to research and find out is going to be on the internet, and they already know about it, so we don't have to worry about it.
Guess what? Not necessarily.
Dude, Ixnay on the Ishni.
Say anyway. So what we're gonna do is this. I think that we're gonna switch it up for Friday. I know we had something planned. This is plenty of time for everybody to do some research. We can go into. We're going to start to do the Masons. I want Jimbo. I want you to take Masons because you're tied to Scott. Or if you don't want it, I'll give it to Nicole.
So
To
there's
be
the Scottish
fair,
Rite Masons and the regular Masons.
so let's talk about it real quick. Let's talk about
Let's
this
talk
real
about
quick. I'm a Hibernian. Okay. I'm a past president of the Hibernians, and we are highly against the Masons, and we don't allow Masons into our group. So if there's something I can do besides that, I would be greatly
Fine.
appreciated.
Why don't you do the Skull and Bones Society?
Masons will not allow Hibernians into their group as well.
I've never even heard of it.
The Ancient Order of Hibernians is an Irish Catholic group, and we
Save it
started
for Friday.
to protect Irish Catholic priests in Ireland while the British controlled the island. And the biggest proponent of that was the Masons and the Orange Order. And I can go into a lot of history about the
So
Masons.
why don't you do the Hyperions? Why don't you do who you're a part of and do the Skull and Bones Society, which I will also touch on because that happened to be my fraternity. And if you want to stay out of Skull and Bones, I'll do Skull and Bones. You can do yours, and
It's all you, brother.
Nicole, you do the Masons.
I'm excited. I would love
I
to
mean,
do
look,
that.
if we start getting into Templar Knights, we're starting to go into National Treasure. I will bring up every fucking movie that has actual factual shit in it that'll make your head twist, and you're like, "Holy shit!" They've been telling us for years all of this shit.
To be fair, I can give you a 2-hour PowerPoint project on the Templars and the Masons and everything else, but I would prefer not to. And I would prefer to talk about the Hibernians and
You
their
do the Hibernians.
influence
Masons,
on
whatever.
the same subject, if I could.
You do that. You stay on that. I will take Skull and Bones, and I'll also do the Knights Templar because I love the history about it. Like,
Fair enough.
I don't love what they did, but I love a lot of the history of it because history fascinates me. And the more you know about it, the more you can stop the cyclical cycle of history. Because all of history is in a fucking circle, and people don't realize that what happened today was happening 50 years ago or 100 years ago, and it's just coming full circle.
Or 500.
Look at fashion. Yeah, but look at fashion though. You have the 70s coming back again. You have the 90s starting to come back, right? But that's just the minimal thing. We're not even talking about the grand scheme. So Nicole, you're going to take Masons. Okay. I want you to look into Freemasons. I want you to look into current Masons, and I want you to look into as much as you can find about the High Masons.
Okay.
Okay.
Current
I think this is
Masons-
going to be.
Yeah.
I think this will be fun for Friday. And what we'll do is that'll be half of the episode, right? We'll talk about it. We can even break it up into another episode, and then we'll do what everybody loves on Friday is Fetish Friday. We'll touch on some naughty shit so that we could hear about Jim's new stuff. I said it. If you
Wow,
couldn't
I'm
see that,
excited.
my eyebrows were raising up and down. So with that being said,
Oh, we need to
We
do
appreciate-
a quote.
yeah. With that being said,
I'm sorry.
we love all. No, you're good. We love all of you guys, and we want you guys to know that if you ever need to talk out or reach out to somebody, all of us are available. Whether we're here whether we're on TikTok, any one of our actual platforms, you're more than welcome to reach out. And I know just like everybody else in this podcast that we care about you. We care about your mental health. We care about you, and we want to see you here tomorrow, because it is okay not to be okay, but it is a much better day with you in it. So let's go ahead. I got some affirmations, which Nicole was jumping to. And I have some. Give me 1 second here. I was pulling it up as she was saying it.
Sorry, I jumped
So
the gun.
no, you're good. No, she's all about it. She's all about it.
Yeah,
and I'm okay with that.
It's part of the pod.
It is part of the pod. So you can do it. And it was just a brief little one. And I'm still trying to talk to the tirednurse.com to try to get some more from her, because I love her badass affirmations of the day. But I grabbed a couple of these. I'm proud of everything that you've accomplished. I'm on my way to becoming the best version of myself. I'm not perfect, but I'm improving every day. And I can do anything I put my mind to it. And that's something, those 4 things, I went through a list of 200 of them. And those were the 4 that I pulled out, because with the new year, I wanted you all to make sure that you realize the value that you have. And no matter if somebody values you or not, we value you, and you should value yourself, because you're loved. And no matter what anybody, ignorant shit someone says to you, we care about you, and you care about yourself as well. And if they don't feed you, fuck you, or finance you, let them the fuck out of your life. You don't need them. So with that being said, Jimbo, any final word?
I love your faces. Thank you so much. Happy 2025. I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Nicole, any
I love
closing
you guys.
words?
You know, I'm always here. Love you.
Carl.
Fucking Carl, bro.
It's a new year,
Damn it,
new
Carl.
bull. The same fucking Carl. I'm
Carl,
telling
where are
you.
you?